Huh. Maybe a bit lower. I'll just put it in post. Does it look good? I don't know. If you're curious about the setup, I have a boom mic, this small fill light with blue gel, and then on the side just a key light. Yeah, that's my setup. Actually, I don't know if I like this. I'm trying to experiment, but I don't know if this is something that I want. Well, anyways. C100 Mark I. I will probably sell this soon, so I want to talk about it while I have it, just in case it's gone and I have nothing to say about it because I don't have it anymore. Super old camera now that it's been 8 years since 2012. We'll say 2012. 8 years since 2012. That is when this thing came out, I'm guessing. And is it worth it? Yes and no, but just hear me out for a second. I'm not going to be talking about all the nooks and crannies of this C100. I'm just going to be talking about what my experience is, basically. I won't be covering everything, just what I've experienced, what helped me, what didn't help me, what I thought was cool, what I didn't like about it, and whatnot. So, just a fair warning, I guess. So, I'm going to focus on some of the things that I liked, some of the things that gave me a good impression about this camera, and then we'll move on to the bad, I guess. Now, let's talk about price range. This thing, street price, can go for, I feel like, $1,300 now, because back then it was crazy expensive, even though it didn't really have all those specs that people are looking for. So you can get around $1,300 if you're lucky, even less. I don't think stores really sell the C100 Mark 1s anymore. I'm not sure, not that I know of, but you can get it fairly cheap. $1,300 is not cheap, but it's fairly cheap for a video first cinema camera. The image quality of this C100 Mark 1 is, I feel like it is better than most DSLRs out right now, even. Compared to my 90D's image quality, I feel like this takes the cake. Even though the 90D came out in around 2019, I feel like the image quality of this just overtakes that by a long shot. And yes, 90D does 120 frames, but no autofocus, 60 frames with autofocus, 4K, 24p. But this, the image quality, you can't really copy that from that 90D, so the built-in ND filters. It has definitely made it more convenient to have ND filters built into the actual camera body, which is something you never think about until you have it. If you forget ND filters, no problem. Just ND filters, definitely a win. I can't remember how many times I've forgotten ND filters and I had to crank up shutter speed and my f-stop way too high for it to look decent. And it has helped a lot. Another thing I want to bring up is battery life. These suckers will get you through a whole day. One thing I have found is that if you buy the third-party brands, for some reason they last longer. I don't know if that's proven, but from my experience, I think they do last longer than Canon's own brand batteries. Another thing is the codec for this C100. This thing can only shoot in AVC HD, not MP4. As to the differences between those two, I do not know. The only thing that I know is that the Canon C100's codec is amazing. You could shoot for an hour straight and the file sizes are insanely small. Having to shoot sometimes at 4K on my 90D for like 5 minutes already overtakes the amount I have to shoot with this. So comparing the two file sizes between this small little guy and this hunk of junk, big piece of metal, is crazy how much the file sizes are different. So if that's something important to you, I would stick to the C100 just because smaller file sizes. And also because storage space. If you don't have or you don't want to spend on external hard drives. Another thing I want to point out is that the fact that the sensor shoots in 4K, but internally it downsizes it to 1080p. So basically what that means is you are getting more detail than a regular 1080p video. So basically you can scale up to 20% without actually losing quality, if that is something you need. But that brings up the point of, why doesn't it shoot 4K and all that? Look at here, 4K does not make your videos better, okay? Your skills make your videos better. A person with, I don't know, Canon C100 I, if that person had the skills, can outmatch the quality of a video with a person shooting like this, or even a higher grade cinema camera. Just putting it out there. If you need 4K and you think it'll make your videos way better because it's 4K, you're stupid. Another thing, and this is pretty big, all the buttons on the side, I don't know if you can see it, everything here is accessible with a touch. Usually in my DSLR, my 90D, I would have to search through the menu, click around, select, then change the settings. This, one button, boom, set. That's it, you're done. And it's something that made the process for me filming way faster, which is great because I don't want to be sitting on my, trying to change the settings and then getting the wrong settings and then just having to change it again. I want it to be fast, quick, and boom, I want it to be done. I don't want to think about it, I just want to. And lastly, the last thing that I really loved about it was the XLR inputs. These things saved me a lot of time and saved me a lot of time. Usually for shoots or interviews, to be more specific, I usually use an external recorder. But now with the XLR inputs, I'm able to record straight into the camera. No having to sync it in post and having to deal with all those files, those extra files that made me just want to. And it made it so much easier to dial in the settings for the audio straight into the camera rather than having to go to the camera recorder. Now we're gonna focus on some things that I personally may have not liked, had bad experiences with, or just in general something that didn't really flow with me, I guess. It's not something I found great about this cinema camera. Now, one thing I hate, just because I've been so spoiled from the 90D, is the LCD screen. It's a screen, it is what it is, but it doesn't flip the other way. There's not really good placement of it. I don't know, I always found myself fidgeting, trying to get the right angle. It is what it is, but yeah, because I'm currently shooting on the C100 Mark I, and I can see myself perfectly with the flip out screen instead of this, weird design. It is what it is. So another thing that I didn't really like about this was the fact that the C100 Mark I can do 24 frames, and that's pretty much it. This also does 30 frames, but I don't usually use 30 frames, so I can't say that it's useful to me. So that means no slow down shots of anything of any kind. I think this would be useful for interviews, just having it on a tripod, or just maybe an action sequence, which I did film, by the way, but not with this, because funny story, we shot an action sequence. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I don't even know what to call it, but I just put it as a fighting sequence, and I was supposed to film it with this, but I accidentally left it in my car, and we had to walk around 10 to 15 minutes downhill. So if I wanted to get it back and film with it, I'd have to walk 15 minutes uphill. So I just shot with a 90D, but this would fit perfectly for that type of video. So weddings on a tripod, business interviews, or just interviews in general on a tripod, anything with a tripod. But if it's something you need movement with, you can do it, but just don't expect to get slow-mo B-roll shots with this. So, it's something that you have to work around sometimes, and sometimes you have to have a second camera that actually does 60 frames. So it was something that at the time I didn't think it hindered me, but now I wish I had it. But yeah, that's all I really had to say about the C100. I may have missed some things. I didn't really plan on making this video, but Just came out on a whim just because I didn't want to edit all day. But I'm gonna have to edit this video. Oh. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. I don't know, I just wanted to speak some thoughts about this, even though it is really old, which is crazy because even though this is really old, it has some great image quality. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. How do I end the video? I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna talk. Maybe I'm gonna cut midway. I don't know. Maybe I wanna